Welcome everybody and Happy New Year. My name is Carol Theobald and I'd like to welcome you to the first Intercontinental Think Tank meeting for 2025. Today, our theme is Menstrual Health and Sustainability. Before we begin, I'd like to cover some housekeeping. We're meeting today from all over the world, but please share your location in the chat line and use the chat line to ask questions and make comments. Please put your microphone on mute. Please ask questions respectfully and make them short and succinct. This is our programme for today. I'll start by introducing the team and explaining why Zonta says now. Then I'll hand over to Sue to give an overview of menstrual health and sustainability. And after hearing from our two guest speakers, we will go into breakout rooms, Dipisha said, breakout rooms for a short discussion. And finally, I'll give you a quick update of what is happening with Zonta Says Now. So let's get into it. There we go. Okay, we've got our two guest speakers, Dipisha Bhujel based in Nepal, Dr. Jessica Kind is based in Guatemala, and bringing the programme together, we have Sue Lees, based in Melbourne on the east coast of Australia, and myself based in Perth on the west coast of Australia. We use this train to join the dots as to why we say now to gender equal climate action. Increased carbon pollution has led to global heating that triggers extreme weather events such as heat waves, droughts, fires, storms, and floods. These cause millions of people to lose their livelihoods and homes, and this social disruption magnifies any existing inequality, including gender inequality. Zonta Says Now stops the train by advocating for governments to meet their obligations under the Paris Agreement and closing the gender gaps in leadership, education, economic opportunity, health, and safety. Life for women and girls at the end of the train is hard, and not being able to manage periods effectively makes life harder. Have you ever thought about menstrual health in the context of climate change? I'd like you to meet some women at the end of the train who are doing this. Selena is a community health volunteer in Bangladesh. She says, in our locality, girls get their period at the age of 10 or 11. When it floods, all our houses and belongings are submerged in the water. Then we have to live on the boat until the water goes. We have to stay with male members on the boat, and young unmarried girls feel shy while they manage their periods. We have to care for those unmarried girls so we can help them by providing them a safe space. In Cambodia, during the dry season, Sophia discreetly disposes of her used disposable pads by burying or burning them near her home. However, in the rainy season, like many other women, Sophia usually keeps used pads in plastic bags in her home until the water recedes and the waste can be buried or burned. Hibak is 15 and she's a refugee living in a camp for displaced people in Somaliland. She and her family fled their home after devastating droughts destroyed their livestock and with it, their livelihood. It was a long and dangerous journey for her back to arrive at the camp, and now she and her sister are struggling to manage their periods safely. When we have a period, we need soap and also we need a lot of water and a toilet, said her back, but we don't have all these facilities at our camp. Zonta Says Now seeks climate justice for women and girls, and this includes helping them to manage their periods during difficult times. We want women to be able to prevent, prepare for, respond to, and recover from the impacts of climate change on the same basis as men. And we do this by taking gender climate action locally, nationally, and internationally. I'd like to hand over to Sue Lees now to outline some of the key issues surrounding menstrual health and sustainability. And if you can put your microphones on mute if you're not speaking, that would be great. Thanks very much. Over to you, Sue.
Thank you, Carol. First of all, I'd like to explain what menstrual hygiene management is. This is all about giving a right to clean menstrual management, material to absorb or collect blood. This can be changed in privacy as often as necessary for the duration of the menstrual period. It means using soap and water for washing the body as required and having access to facilities to dispose of used menstrual management materials. So let's look at products, privacy, soap and water, and disposal. Many menstrual products are made from plastic and contain chemicals. Around 90% of a menstrual pad is from plastic, and about 6% of a tampon, even the string, is plastic. Sadly, many menstrual products are not reusable, recyclable, or biodegradable. Amazingly, in many countries, menstrual products are taxed. For example, in the USA, Viagra is tax exempt as it is a health product. But sanitary products are classified as luxury goods and taxed at the highest rate. Why is it that sanitary pads and products are not seen as health products? Today, 614 million women and girls are living in conflict-affected areas, and the number of women and girls fleeing conflict, crisis, and disasters is growing. Menstruation does not stop during crises. Yet, menstrual hygiene, management, and women and girls' health and dignity are low priorities during crisis response. When people are displaced or homeless, they may not have access to a private place to go to the toilet or change their tab or tampon. WHO estimates that over 1.5 billion people do not have basic sanitation services, private toilets or latrines. They may not be able to access soap and water during their time of menstruation, which makes it hard to keep clean and hard to stop infections. During drought or disasters, when water is scarce, do you use water for drinking or for washing? And during floods, toilets may be flooded and unusable. Water, sanitation and hygiene programs, called WASH programs, are essential to stay healthy during menstruation. Disposal of menstrual products is very problematic. Worldwide, over 45 billion menstrual products are used every year. In some cultures, they are burned or buried, and in the UK, about 2.5 million tampons are flushed down the toilet every day. Menstrual products contain plastic and many other chemicals that can pollute water bodies and landfill sites. Up to 11,000 period products can be used in a lifetime. That's a lot of plastic and pollution. For Chalma in Zimbabwe, period poverty and early marriage is the order of the day. Girls from low-income families, especially in rural areas where cyclical droughts and flooding have affected the community's way of life, puts them in a position where they cannot afford to buy sanitary products. Where menstrual products aren't readily available, many women and girls must use items like rags, grass, and paper to manage their periods. Around 500 million women and girls experience period poverty globally. In sub-Saharan Africa, 1 in 10 girls misses school during her period, and 65% of Kenyan women are unable to afford menstrual products. Period poverty also occurs in the global north. Over half of the girls in the UK said they can't afford menstrual products at some point during the past year. And nearly 2/3 of women in Missouri, USA, were unable to afford menstrual products. In Australia, over half the 150,000 women surveyed said they had missed work during their period through fear of leaking. The cost of menstrual products varies enormously, adding to period poverty. A survey of the USA and 107 countries found that the cheapest place to buy menstrual products was the UK. This survey did not include Scotland, where the products are free, but more on that later. Just look at the cost of menstrual products compared to the average resident's monthly income. In the top 10 countries, women spent less than 1% of their monthly income on menstrual products. However, can you imagine living in Algeria and spending nearly 15% of your wages on menstrual products? Women in rich countries do pay less. Many Zontians would have heard of Days for Girls International. This NGO increases access to menstrual care and education by providing washable menstrual pad kits. They also establish local enterprises to make the kits. In the USA, they also provide menstrual cups in 2 sizes made of medical grade silicone that lasts up to 10 years. Products are sourced through local Days for Girls chapters, teams and clubs, and they have branches in many countries. In Australia, many families on low incomes use the Day for Girls products. You may be interested in having a representative from Days for Girls to speak at one of your meetings. Many countries are realising that period poverty can be rectified. In 2020, Scotland passed a law making menstrual products free and available to anyone who needs them. In 2021, New Zealand soon followed and made menstrual products available in schools. At this time, both Scotland and New Zealand were headed by women, Nicola Sturgeon and Jacinda Ardern. What a difference it makes having female leaders. It is good to see more and more countries making menstrual products available in schools, making it possible for girls to stay in schools during menstruation. And this is a 1-minute video that summarises some of the problems. Okay, it now gives me pleasure to introduce Dipisha Bhujel. And Dipisha Bhujel is well known to many Zontians as she was a recipient of Zonta's International Young Women in Public Affairs Award and spoke at the convention in Hamburg and last year in Brisbane. We had hoped that Dipisha would present to us in July last year, but sadly she was caught up in the riots in Bangladesh and all internet communication was cut off. Dipisha subsequently returned to Nepal, and we are delighted to have her here with us today. Dipisha is a menstrual equity advocate and social entrepreneur working to eliminate period poverty. Since 2013, she has worked in the field of women's empowerment and environmental protection with various national and international organisations at both advocacy and operational level. Dipisha has been successful in educating over 8,000 young people in Nepal, promoting menstrual equity while challenging the taboo and stigma surrounding menstruation. She is the co-founder and chairwoman of Sparsa, a social business that produces safe and usable menstrual pads made of banana fibre while raising awareness about menstrual health across Nepal. Dipisha is also the recipient of the prestigious Asian Girls Social Innovation Award and received the IRIS Project STEM Prize in 2023. This is a short 3.5-minute video produced by the IRIS Project, which showcases her work.
Nepal's environment is beautifully diverse. We are famous for our tall mountains, and our cities are visited by travelers from around the world. We also have fertile lands, and forests make up to 40% of our country. They provide us with clean air, food, and rich biodiversity. But we are vulnerable to climate change. Both our rain and temperature are increasing faster than the global average. We are at risk of food and water shortages, and our forests are threatened too. Plastic pollution is part of this problem, and there are plastic in regular menstrual pads. Plastic-made menstrual pads are estimated to take around 500 to 800 years to fully decompose. And women will use around 5,000 to 15,000 pads throughout their lifetime. But what could we do when we only had the choice between using this product or no product at all? We had to find another way. That's why we developed affordable and biodegradable menstrual pad made out of banana fiber. At Sparsa, we use the very latest and cutting-edge banana technology to produce our product. The banana fiber is extracted from the banana stem, which is scientifically a banana leaf. It is a raw material that is easy for us to access. The IRIS Project STEM Prize will help us so much as we take our next steps. We will use the prize money to help us build the pad production factory, which means that we can already start producing the pads in the near future. The factory will gradually increase its production to become financially sustainable in its third year of operation.
नमस्कार, मेरो नाम सुभाष कुर्मी। मेरो चाहिँ घर यहीं सुस्ता 5 नन्दनगरमा हो। मेरो खेतमा जुन यो स्पर्श नेपाल कम्पनी लगाइए छ, केराको खम्बाबाट जुन यो रेसा निकालेर जुन सेनेटरी पैड बनाइन्छ त्यो पनि एकदम राम्रो हो। अनि जुन यो केराबाट जैविक मल बनाइन्छ त्यो पनि एकदम राम्रो हाम्रो लागि उपयोगी हुन्छ अनि त्यसपछि यहाँका कामदारहरूले पनि काम पाउँछ।
While producing the fats, we will also be advocating for women's rights and raise awareness about menstrual health management, as we believe that menstruation shouldn't be a subject of shame and taboo. It is incredible that with our project, we are being able to help women to become self-reliant with financial opportunities. With Aspersa, we aim to create a model that could be replicated anywhere in the global south, helping more women while also tackling the problem of plastic pollution.
Well, that was really interesting. Over to you, Dipisha.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm just, yeah, I need
I've got it. I've just shared it with you, Dipisha. You should be fine to go now.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, nice. Okay, hello everyone. Very nice to see you early in the morning. Yeah, coincidentally, I also got my period just last night, so that's why like I have a bit of like small cramps. So, um, to start, I think like in my presentation, I will mostly be talking about like Spursa, how it started, like its connection with Nidisi, and then menstruation in Nepal, and then again like our like impact here in Nepal and the educational program name is Spursa Ambassador program that we do, and the research program and our ecological mission. And so like you have said a lot about period poverty, like of that. So I think I will like I think it's not necessary for me to go too deep into that, but just wanted to share that Spursa started at an organization named NIDISI, which is a German Nepali organization. And yeah, like in 2015, there was a very big earthquake in Nepal where, like our co-founder at that time was just a student who had come to Nepal to volunteer. But then earthquake happened, like many houses were destroyed, and many people, lost their homes and also like their life. So then our co-founder started like collecting donations and emergency aid from Germany, from his family and friends, um, and then started distributing relief materials. And then what they realized is that the funds were much more enough than just like distributing relief materials. And they also realized that relief materials are not like, long-term solutions. So then they started supporting like students who were facing difficulties to attend to schools after the earthquake. And then I was one of them. So, like in 2015, Nidiji supported me through the education program so that I can pursue my education, because my school was destroyed, my house was also destroyed, my father's workplace was also all destroyed. So that's how like I know this organization. I have been part of it since then. And then what like started as a student initiative, um, then like Nepal's started rebuilding family homes, classroom as well. And then in 2017, they initiated two different projects called Water Project that provided clean drinking water to villages that didn't have access to it, and also Rivali project that started working on recycling, like researching on plastic made roads, because here in Nepal we don't have proper wastage management. So they were like trying to find innovative solutions to that. So then like I think 2017 was a time when the approach was more into implementation of social businesses rather than doing like relief materials or doing like short-term projects. So then in 2020 February, I came along with other team members and co-founded Spursa as a project through Nidizi. So at that time, I brought in like my experience of woman empowerment and menstrual equity and menstrual health management training knowledge into it. And then there were like fiber engineers, economics, economists. All of like we came together and founded this project. And then in 2021, like Nepal's uh, was then changed it to Nidizi to become more professional and like transform it into a social purpose enterprise. So that's how we know it today as Nidizi. And then in December 2023, that was a very big milestone for us at Aspersa, because what was just a social business project inside Nidizi was then registered as a independent non-profit company in Nepal. So that's how we are right now. Like we are a non-profit company operating officially in Nepal. Um, and then so just wanted to say that Nidizi, like at Nidizi, we are like convinced that most of the technical and social solutions are um, already out there to solve the global challenges of our generation. We just believe that it lacks the active decision, the creativity, the conscience, and the mindset to implement those solutions. So we see ourselves as non-profit encouragers and enablers to promote and support life affirming mentalities. And project by project, we saw that it is possible to create economic, ecological, and social added value at the same time. And we believe that humanity can do better. So this is just like a short introduction of Nidizi. And now I would like to tell you briefly about the situation in Nepal regarding menstruation. So in Nepal, like menstruation is seen as something very impure, dirty, and women are made to feel ashamed. And then there are also restricted practices where women are not allowed when we are on our period to go into kitchens, temples, public spaces. Sometimes we are not even allowed to touch like food, water sources, plants, animals, and there are even like practices called Chaupadi Pratha, where women are um, obliged to stay outside their home in a hut or in a cow shed that is like usually very far from the community, and they have to depend on somebody else to even bring them food and water. And so a lot of time the food is not even nutritious because they are not allowed to eat fruits or dairy products, so there are a lot of restrictions on nutrition as well. And they're also not allowed to participate in anything or go to schools during those time, like at least 5 days of each month. So there is a very strong taboos around menstruation. We are not usually talking about period even with our friends or family, like. So there is lack of information and knowledge. And then there is also risk on women's health, because when you don't talk about even like period, then when you have issues not only regarding period but also reproductive health and other issues. So like a lot of women like face challenges with their health. And then talking about the menstrual product market here in Nepal, 99% of all the menstrual products used in Nepal are menstrual pads. So most of the people, if like first of all only like 30% of people have access to healthy period products, meaning using pads or or the sort of modern period products, but other depend on unhygienic way of managing their menstruation, meaning they use like sometimes even I found like people using nothing at all or just leaves or ashes kind of things. Or even when they use clothes, it's usually like unneeded clothes that is kept in their homes or something like that. So even when they have that access, 90% of that product is just menstrual pads. And then 70% of pads are imported from India and rest of them from China. So there is a very few like percent of pads that are locally produced here in Nepal. And then compostable pads are almost non-existent on the market. So like we also did one research study in 2022, covering 14 districts of all 7 provinces of Nepal, and we interviewed like 820 women about their menstrual experiences. And some of this research findings says that 73% interviewed women follow menstrual restrictions, the restriction that I had explained before, and 9.5% of women and girls admits that lack of menstrual products forces them to skip school, and 7.4% misses working days due to the same reason. 90.6% of the pads that they used finished in the environment, meaning they, just threw them in the landfill or lake or river or in toilets or just buried them. And burying is also a very big problem in Nepal, because that plastic pads, which also has some chemicals in them, then contaminates also the land, and then we can see the effect in the agricultural outputs. So this is the scenario here. And yeah, Spursa, as I said, is a non-profit company, and this is the business like model of how it works. So every year when farmers are harvesting banana fruit, they cut down the trees, which is like scientifically leaves. So what happens is that it becomes a agricultural waste for them. And usually like they have to hire like extra labor or like pay extra money to get it out, because it's like wages around 45 to 60 kilograms, which is very heavy. And when they leave it in the field just like that, they can't grow anything until it decomposes in the next 6 months. So that's why we partner with the farmers to get the leaves that they have thrown out, and then turn that waste into a fiber in our banana fiber factory. And then the banana fiber factory produces banana paper like made from those leaves. And then we transport that into menstrual pad factory, where we use non-woven cotton or viscose and cornstarch bioplastic to make our pad, together with the banana fiber that we receive from our other factory. And then we right now like partnering with like non-profit companies or even businesses that are like buying it from us in a very like affordable price. And then all the revenue is again redirected into Spursa to maintain the factories, pay salaries. So and then rest of the profit, like all the profit, goes out into awareness campaigns and women's right advocacy. So this is how it is operated. And as you can see, this is our factories. So the banana fiber factory is on the left side, where we produce the the banana fiber paper, and in the menstrual pad factory we produce the pads. And I just wanted to explain a bit about the multi-dimensional impact that Spursa has on women's rights, which is like empowerment, sustainability, and economics. So about empowerment, so our pads are made by women and for women. We believe that. And right now we have 6 full-time contracts like women, and we at Spursa prioritize hiring women from underprivileged backgrounds or from the local communities. And then we like try our best to pay them more than 1.6 times Nepalese minimum salary, allowing them to have this economic independence. But then some of the salaries are even more higher than that. And we also raise awareness, reducing of stigma and myths via education. So until now, we have educated more than 10,000 people in Nepal through our workshop on menstrual health management, which we started in 2020. So we also, are working to provide access to pads to Nepalese women and fight women's health issues. So, on year 3, we want to sell 885,000 pads And we are also right now advocating on policy level as a on for menstrual equity as an active member of the Menstrual Health Management Partners Alliance Nepal, which is the biggest alliance of all the organization and activists working on menstrual health and hygiene in Nepal. So it also involves government of Nepal, and we have been advocating also for the reduction of the pink tax that also exists in Nepal, that classifies menstrual products as luxury products and has 17% more tax than any other product. So as I think it was also before mentioned that there is this called pink tax, and we are also advocating to reduce the tax on locally produced menstrual products. So this is like a bit about our advocacy on policy level. And for sustainability, first of all, it's a compostable pad, meaning that within a maximum of 3 months it will decompose and is back on the earth. And we also do not use any chemicals throughout our production. So then it's also when it goes into the land, it's also not causing another problem. And then we are also creating value out of local agricultural waste. So, like 700 tons of banana trunks will be recycled in the next 3 years. And then we also reduce plastic waste. We are aiming to reduce 2.2 tons of plastic rejected in the environment or burned, like in the next 3 years, and production of compost. So as I said, we take the banana plant from the farmers that they have like left in their fields. So then while producing fibers, we also generate some waste. So our aim is to make our factory also zero waste. So we make fertilizers out of all the waste, and then the fertilizer or the compost is given back to the farmers who are now heavily dependent on chemical pesticides, which is also harmful to human health and the earth. So we are also like actively working on that. And just like a few months back, we also handed the first batch of compost to the farmers. And we are also providing awareness about biodegradability and environment. Um, so in our menstrual health workshop, we also try our best to educate people about sustainability, how to have like how to manage your period in an eco-friendly way and things like that. So this is our sustainability and economics. Like, so as we are a local organization, like using Nepalese resources, we are strengthening the local economy, and we are also like good at scalability and independence, because we are also designing our own machines and also own raw materials. So we are also right now bringing like capital from the global north into sustainable social businesses from the global south. So trying to change the way like a bit of like how development work has traditionally been, so that we can empower local people to lead change by themselves. So this is sort of what we do on economics level. And we also in last year in September, we launched our Spurs Ambassador program, which has been my dream project actually. So a lot of times when I've traveled throughout Nepal, I realized that all the communities are very diverse, because we have more than 126 ethnic groups in Nepal, and everyone, all the communities has different problems, and I couldn't do like one solution fits all. So that's why we had this idea about why not to train those people representing different communities, and then empowering them with resources and knowledge, so that they can design awareness sessions or educational campaign on their own. So in September, we like hired 10 motivated young people from 10 different communities and gave them like trainings, rigorous trainings, and since like then mentoring them throughout the time. And right now they are delivering menstrual health workshops, and at the end of the year we aim to reach more than 6,400 school students and 1,000 community people, and organize 56 educative community discussions. And also this will help us to understand local community-specific issues regarding menstrual exclusion and gender discrimination, so that in future we could do something even more. So right now, I'm also working on this Spurs Ambassador Program research, where we are partnering with the Munich University in Germany, and recently we also partner with the University of Groningen in Netherlands, because throughout the time, so I have been in this field for more than 7 years, and the question that always like bothered me in a way was, what is the impact of the workshops? And when I met other activists and organizations, they also didn't have the answer. So then I was like, okay, we have to do something. So that's why we started this research project to assess the impact of the ambassador program. We recently finished a baseline survey where we interviewed 4,100 school students, like through in-person interviews, like both, yeah, boys and girls, about their menstrual experiences, knowledge on menstruation. So then to like measure the impact of the ambassador program delivered, and to understand the impact of awareness workshops on stigma reduction related to menstruation, and to generate evidence for policy level advocacy on menstrual health management, and also to share the results of the research on a global platform. So not only that would be helpful for us as an organization to improve our way of doing awareness into a more sustainable way, but also helping other organizations to measure their impact as well, and just last note from my side, that we are on an ecological mission through Spursa. So we aim to empower women to prioritize both their menstrual health and the environment without compromising either. Waste from menstrual pads generate around 120 tons of plastic waste per year in Nepal, and it's a very big problem because every plastic waste that we generate in Nepal is either burned or ended up in a landfill. And we are building up a social business focused on producing and selling compostable menstrual pads made from banana fiber, or waste production of the banana production, a waste product of the banana production. Sorry. All revenues are reinvested to finance awareness campaigns on menstrual health management. The sports pads are the first one of their kind in Nepal, good for the environment, empowering women, and fight menstrual taboos. And what I believe is we need to come here, fight this problem as a, together, that I feel like we are stronger together, and let us save a future where menstrual equity is not a privilege, but a fundamental right, empowering everyone to thrive in health, dignity, and equality. Thank you so much. And I look forward to answering any questions that you have regarding Spurso or MHM in Nepal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dipisha. Don't forget to put your questions for Dipisha and comments in the chat line. And now we'll hear from Dr. Jessica Kind and come back to you, Dipisha. So Dr. Jessica Kind is based in Guatemala. She is a passionate climate change advocate with over 20 years of experience spanning academia, industry, NGOs, and for-profit ventures. Dr. Kind is a pioneer in sustainable development with expertise in climate science, carbon markets, and impactful solutions in water, sanitation, and hygiene. Her work includes leading a Mayor to Jewel NGO for clean cooking, co-founding a climate-friendly sanitation initiative in Guatemala, and advancing fossil fuel divestment in Switzerland. Dr. Kind's efforts to improve women's lives through clean cooking stoves and wash programs exemplify the intersection of health, gender equality, and environmental sustainability. She is also a talented artist, creating artwork that celebrates the beauty of nature while addressing critical social issues such as violence against women. Through her work, she aims to inspire awareness and action, urging viewers to cherish our planet and confront the climate crisis. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jessica Kind.
I've been looking through the list, Sue, and I don't see Jessica in the names that we have here. It looks like she may have had a technical problem. Jessica, if you are there, can you just announce yourself in case you're under somebody else's name? No. No, I don't see her there. No, I don't see her there. Jessica's work, as you can see from the slide on the screen, she does a lot of work with regards to art, using art for education. And she's also done a lot of, you can see from the pictures here, she's done work, these amazing artworks. They all have stories behind them. And if you go to her website, which is just go Jessica Kind, climate scientist artist, you'll find her in Google, and you'll be quite impressed with the work that she has. One of the things we wanted to do today by having Jessica with us was to show how we can use art for education. So I'm going to flick back now to Sue, and we'll show about the Zonta Says Now virtual art gallery.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that, Sue?
Yeah. So the Zonta Says Now virtual art gallery is where Zontians can share how they feel about today's world. It's not a competition, and you don't have to be a professional artist to submit an entry. Zontians and their immediate families may enter, as well as Zonta scholarship recipients. Dipisha? If you are not sure what to create, why not share a photograph with a short story? Upload a digital image of your work. It can be anything: cake decorating, knitting, gardening, music, poetry, to the Zonta Says Now virtualartgallery.org before the end of February. So here are a couple of last year's entries that show the power of art. Notice that each artwork is supported by a story. This painting was done by Mita Mitra in Germany, showing how she was moved by the fires that she witnessed in Germany and Australia. This entry is from Andrea Lenz in Germany, using photographs. Look at this heart-shaped bush in summer and winter. Andrea hopes that love will reduce the suffering and stop the decline of our unique world. Please share your artwork in the gallery.
We also have a short video on the gallery, Sue. I'll just show this link and see if it'll show up. Oh, let me see if it comes through. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
Is it showing?
Yes.
It is showing? Good. I'll put it on full screen. Okay. Can you hear the sound?
Not yet.
Okay.
Do you want to?
I'll put it back. Let's see if we can go. You can see the screen. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
You can see that. Good. I just want to double check. And right, we'll put it on, and I'll just. That sound is on.
What sound?
Good. Sorry. There we go. So it's an interesting exercise to go and look at the gallery and be inspired for what you can do. Entries are open to Zontians as well as family members. So you may have a family member, an immediate family member that would like to be part of it. Okay, back to you, Sue.
Thank you. All right, so thank you, Dipisha, for your very wonderful presentation. We're now going to discuss what we've heard today. We're just going to discuss what we've learned, what we can do, how we can use the virtual art gallery to raise awareness. And we want to hear about people's experiences in their own countries. What's the attitude of menstruation in your country, and what's the government's attitude to menstruation? What are the particular issues in your country regarding menstruation?
How did we go? Before we go, there's a couple of questions in the chat line, Dipisha, that I'd just like to put to you. The first one was, what's the plan for rolling out to other countries?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Because that's so like next step for Spurso. Like, we are right now working on a blueprint model. Because we think like right now the factories we have built, everything that we have done is piloting. And for us, like it was very difficult to start because we had to start everything from scratch. There were very few, like I think one or two other companies that were known to produce pads out of banana fiber, one in Africa and one in India, but like none of them were willing to share any information to us because both of that were like profitable companies. So we struggled a lot. We had to create everything, like we had to do research, we had to, build our machines ourselves. So that took a long time. And COVID was also hard. So, it was a lot of resources put in, a lot of struggle, a lot of challenges, even legally. So that's why right now we are like building this blueprint model where we like store all of our knowledges and then give it for free to people who are willing to replicate that model in their countries where they have like banana productions and have similar issues. So right now we are also partnering with like Stanford University to create this blueprint model, and we need like more support on that so that like more people in different parts of the world can do similar things like us and have more like sustainable
And
ways solutions to the issues of menstrual equity.
second question was, how do you distribute the pads across Nepal, and are they free?
So as I had explained before, we are not like selling like or giving it for free because it's a social business, and that's the way of making it sustainable and self-reliant. Even though we are right now like dependent on the fundings that we receive from the global north, we are aiming to become like independent. So that's why it's very important that we make some sales, but then we are also trying our best to make it as affordable as it can be. So we are also right now like partnering with organization to like give it to other NGOs that would like to distribute it for free. But then for us to have this sustainable, we need to generate revenues and profits.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move back to how the groups got on. I'll go through groups 1, 2, 3, and 4. Christine, you were group 1. What was the key issues that were raised in your group?
Firstly, in terms of what did we learn, there was a positive response very positive response about the ambassador program that Dipisha described. Such a good idea to train 10 women, 10 young people to go into the different communities, so they are hearing from someone within their own community who's been trained about menstrual health management and in effect educating others. That's absolutely fantastic. Then next, we had a number of New Zealanders in our group. They were the majority in our group, but that was really good because they told us about the situation in New Zealand. So in New Zealand, there are free products in schools. I think covering 97% of students have access to these free products, and the new government has continued that program, and it gives access to menstrual products for 200,000 students. I think that was right. And it's been estimated that 95,000 would miss school without access to this program of free products. And it's also had impacts on raising universal awareness in New Zealand about menstrual health and its management, menstrual management. Also, as Suella mentioned, that companies and organisations have also taken up, have had their awareness raised and taken up the same approach as the government, offering free products to their staff, women and girls on their staff. And in general, it's just raised awareness right across the country. However, Desiree raised, while in New Zealand they have access to these menstrual health products, they are still plastic. So the next step is for community, Zonta, to suggest to the government that they support startup industries who want to go into manufacturing more sustainable options, renewable options such as period pants, menstrual cups, etc., and support these startups with the challenges that they would face.
Brilliant.
And
that's excellent, Christine. I'll pass on to the second group that was.
Can I just say one more thing before we go on?
Yeah.
As one of our groups said, just remember when we're trying to focus on the renewable nature of these, that we need to move to the renewable nature. Just remember, it's better to have a period product than none, but we can think about the reusable options.
Yeah, true, so true. Our second group, Sandra McLean, would you like to give us just a couple of key points that came out of your group?
Oh, yeah, sure. We had a good conversation. I think one of the main things was basically talking about just also to just the business model. I think there was a lot of, I think it was just amazement and I guess appreciation for Dipisha and her business model. And we were also impressed to hear how she's got, where she's got, and also interested to see how she can expand, understanding that, it's a lot of work. But also we talked about the availability of menstrual products and in America, the struggle to get them into college campuses. But also in Australia, in Queensland, actually, the Queensland government has partnered with Share the Dignity to provide that to state schools. However, I do note that was a 2020 election commitment. So maybe that's something for Zonta to do, to advocate to the government to ensure that they continue that election commitment around the free availability of menstrual products. We also talked about in relation to the connection between a disaster and when people have to evacuate quickly from their homes. And I mean, I guess this is a nice sort of synergy, really a bad synergy, but a synergy even so when there is a disaster and you have to go to an evacuation centre, sometimes women don't leave with menstrual products or anything, they have to leave. So the Red Cross at the moment is doing that in America, supporting people in LA and providing menstrual products. So I think that's an interesting kind of joining together of, the impact of climate change and the rise of natural disasters and how that, impacts on women in so many different ways. And then we also talked about it just very quickly, a Z Club in America that basically won an award, which was about the provision of organic menstrual products. So that was an interesting little kind of connection as well. So we had a good discussion, I think, mainly about those key points in relation to the provision of menstrual products, how in the global north, I suppose, that there could be not so much of a lot of young women have, are too embarrassed to talk about how they might use menstrual products, and getting them to use organic products could be just because of that. It's not an open conversation in many ways. So that's it, really.
Excellent. Cheryl, what were the key points from your group? Lost her.
First two of the group talked about the difficulties with the stigma and taboos within their cultures, and preventing the good menstrual health education, and that created a problem, particularly for people who were unable to buy because of the cost of sanitary products. And I wanted that the speaker from Nigeria said that there was no restriction in schools, but there was a stigma problem, and as if about being noticed to have a period for a leaking, for example. And they needed a reusable product, such as what Dipisha had actually discussed. And so she was very interested in that. I asked about any contacts with Days for Girls, and none of the group had a contact. So that might be a possible way that Zonta clubs within the area could find out where the Days for Girls contacts were within their communities, and support the wider community like that. One question that was asked, though, was one concern was the banana leaves are brown, so we saw the product that's white. So we're just wondering, the question was, how were they made white? Was bleach used, and if that was bleach used, is that a problem? So the other, so that was the other. For Australians, it was one of the group wanted to maybe write to the MPs about the luxury tax for menstrual items as being a sort of a health concern.
I'll quickly go to Sue Lees for a quick summary of what your group did. I'm very aware of the time, how it's going. And I noticed that Sudha had a question as well. So over to you, Sue.
Okay, so our group consists of Australia, Nepal, USA and Germany. So basically people, you would say more from the global north, were quite surprised about the problem in terms of the fact that we didn't really know much at all about what the menstrual pads and items contained, the fact that there was this huge disposing problem, and not a lot of people were particularly aware of the sort of stigmas that women and girls often faced. So it was very much an educational program. What do we do? So we were actually very fortunate to have Alex, the male, in our group, and that was really useful because Alex suggested that we need to have men feel a stake in it, so that if we and it's quite difficult because obviously men are not going to experience menstruation themselves, but we need to somewhere find some common goals, because if men have, if they kind of understand menstruation and the issues that around menstruation environmentally and physically, maybe they also will be more interested in doing something about the problem. So if this is where our gender equality comes in, that if they see that the issue is in some way important to them as well, then they will be perhaps more prepared to get on board in a number of ways. And it was also really interesting that Sabina was saying that she's a lawyer and that she actually did have a case in Germany of a woman who was coming to her because she had period cramps, and the boss didn't really wouldn't give her time off or allow her to go home. And so, like, the problem's everywhere, but we kind of still need to work out just how we actually have a conversation with men, how we have education with men on a basis that's respectful for everybody concerned. So I think between Sabina and Alex, they did a fantastic job of kind of really educating us both about that. So I think that we're basically in the end, we'd say there's two really important issues there, and with respect and reusing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you. Now, Sudha, you had a question. Was it a quick question? You're on mute. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. It's not the question, it's actually the answer. When I was in a group, I couldn't answer because of the time. So in our group, Jenny asks that even though our banana fiber, it's a brown color, and how can our pad will be in white color without the bleaching or without any chemicals? So I just want to let you all know that our raw material, the paper that we produce or the mattress that we have is still in a brown color. We don't use any chemical, we don't use any bleaching. It's just that our top layer, the cotton, is in white color. That's why it looks like white, but if you look closely, you can see the brownish on the pad. That's what I want to say.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for answering that question. And thanks again to everyone for participating in that conversation. We are just winding up now. It's really been an interesting discussion that everyone's had. I just want to quickly give you an update on what else has been happening. In the December update, we had stories about the fact sheets, this think tank, and all those UN climate-related activities that happened at the end of last year. So if you haven't seen it, just go onto the website there and you can download the PDF. We released the Economic Opportunities fact sheet a couple of months ago, and these new style of fact sheets are designed to be read online. They contain many links and they're very colourful. This one's about 24 pages. It's a good primer for what happens in this area. This one we released just before Christmas, and this is really the first one which you should read. It's why we need gender equal climate justice. So I recommend that you go onto the Zonta website under the resources page to look at this. We've got two more in development on women in environmentally sustainable decision making, and also consolidating our information on women and disaster preparedness. From now to July, for International Women's Day, members always say, what can they do to help? We're developing short videos, social media posts and clubs to promote the fact sheets. So just get the message out. You may use them for your own club meetings and things to raise awareness of issues. In March, we have the CSW 69, and we're doing a face-to-face workshop in New York at the NGO CSW Parallel event. And that's all around solutions from the heart. And then we have our virtual art gallery on Earth Day, which we will launch the 2025 collection. And we're also working with Zonta International on a couple of exciting activities to complement that. So more about that later. And please enter the virtual art gallery. You do not have to be an artist. I did my entry the other day, and it's just good fun. Just do it. Do a picture of something you love. All your motivation comes from things that you love. So use it. And so we'll submit your entry now. So our next meeting, we won't have an Intercontinental think tank in March, as we'll focus on the NGO CSW. And at CSW 69 and the parallel CSW, NGO CSW forum, that runs from the 10th to the 21st of March in New York. There are hundreds of online presentations, so please register today and make the most of this COP for gender equality. Zonta's UN committee is hosting 12 conversation circles that focus on the 12 areas of concern contained in the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. So please register for those conversation circles. They're very educative. And our next Intercontinental think tank will be on Sunday, the 11th of May at 10 a.m. Universal Time. And this will be hosted by Zontians from Europe and Africa. And before I finish, I'd just like to check that there are no other comments in the chat line. I don't think there are. I can't see it. Was there anything else that anyone can shout out that I need to look at? I've lost my chat line. No? Okay. And what I'd like to do now is to thank you all for joining today's think tank. And special thanks to Dipisha for sharing her amazing work. And special thanks to Sue for co-hosting. And if you'd like to find out more about Zonta or would like to get in contact, please visit the website or email us at the address above. And before we go, let's just open our cameras and mics and say goodbye with a big smile. Keep breathing, keep smiling, and have fun. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
If you're still there,